Okay, there we go. What's up?
Hey. Hi, how are you?
This has been a long time coming.
I've
Stop.
been eagerly waiting. Oh, thank you.
Saying, and I made it to the store and everything.
Yay. I'm so happy you came out. I have to say,
About this later.
oh, that's good. The black bean. That is really good.
Never
That's
heard
really
of
good.
it.
And I made it really simply. I'm sorry, I don't know, want to get into this, but I just sauteed some zucchini, tomato, olive oil, and did a little bit of the red sauce, not a lot, and mixed in with the olive oil. It was so
A
tasty.
veggie sauce.
Yeah, the veggies. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm a fan too. I am honored and humbled and appreciative for you to even consider me on your show. So thank you so much. It is such an opportunity.
You know what? Anyway, no. So I'm going to go ahead and welcome you to the platform. I'm so anxious and so excited. There's so much to learn from you, so many paths, but that's why I call it conversation, because I'm going to follow your lead on what you think is priority. We're going to learn a little bit about you, learn a little bit about your journey, and then how people can go and get healthy over at the Golden.
That's right. That's right.
Grocer. So I want to welcome you. Welcome to each and every one of you who are listening near and far. Welcome to another Conversations in the Nick of Time. I am your host, Nikki Roach. We want to thank and send out a big shout out and thank you to Sparkman Pathway to Careers and KSTL 690 AM, those sponsors holding us down and trusting us with this platform. Those of you who are new to this space, I call it my little virtual global classroom, and I bring in experts such as our guest on today. You're going to hear more in just a moment. They come in and help us with leadership excellence and leadership accidents. That's our focus. And it takes both to get us to the place of success, but it's success as we define it, not as the world. So with all of that being said, I'm just mad amped. You get to meet somebody that I fan out over, over all the great stuff that she has done. And the thing is just consistent with it, but I'm just admiring her. And I'm talking about none other than Dr. Jamila Owens-Todd. And she is born and raised right here in St. Louis, got out of here for a minute. I have this long, extensive bio, but I highlighted a few things that I wanted to pull out. She started her career path studying science at UMSL, so University of Missouri St. Louis. She completed her education with her bachelor's degree in both chemistry and French. And there's a reason, a method to this madness while I'm reading this. She became a chemist and she worked for government at the Food and Drug Administration and within the pharmaceutical industry at a top pharmaceutical company in the research and development department. She went on after these accomplishments, moved her butt all the way to Canada. And for 6 years, before returning back, upon returning back to St. Louis, she went there and studied. And she studied a very unique space in the medical, which it was brand new to me. And I have practiced this all week. Naturopathic.
Yeah, naturopathic. Naturopathic. Yeah, you were good. You're close.
Okay, so this is a practice, and in this practice, she went on to the Canadian College of Naturopathic Medicine, one of the 6 accredited trainings in schools in North America for this formal type of study. And she is in her research, in her study, in her education, because she didn't just go get it for herself and come back to practice, but she is now also helping others with the knowledge and the understanding and the benefits of what it is, this natural way of healing ourselves instead of pumping ourselves with all these meds. And so I can go on and on and on. She's worked in diverse patient-based, treating a multitude of physical and mental ailments. I could go on and on. She is also, though, the owner, the founder, the brains, the body, and the beauty behind Golden Grocer, which is a health food store located in St. Louis, Missouri. Welcome, Dr. Owens-Todd.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
How you doing?
I am doing really well today. Today is a good day, and I thank you for asking. I try to check in and give an honest answer, but today is a good day. Things have been moving along swimmingly. The day has been full of surprises, but all welcomed. So it's a good day.
What's a typical day? Because you have this space that you are operating in that is very unique to Black and Brown community.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I say unique, it's not, it's more talked about now, but when you went to school, not so much.
No.
How has that evolved for you?
Interestingly enough, when I went to school, I just knew I had to do it. Like I just knew, I was going to be a scientist. I was going to be an organic chemist was the thing. And I was going to find a cure for cancer. And all of the conventional routes said, well, you get your graduate degree in like organic chemistry, or you do a MD, PhD. There were all of these very traditional models that I was just considering in my undergraduate education, but I was always like the herb girl. And I was always thinking, well, what can I do naturally? And didn't even realize that those two could be married, at that time. And when I found out about the program, the naturopathic program of study, I was like, this is it. This is it. And
know anything about that program though, prior to?
You know what? I've been on the internet vigorously since 1995. When the internet first came out, I couldn't tell you when, but I know when I discovered it, I was constantly just searching and looking for, because I knew it's like, you want to go to grad school, but I just couldn't find that thing that made sense to me. And somehow I couldn't even tell you how I got on the website, which at the time was for the Canadian College for Naturopathic Medicine. I came across their website and I was like, wait, this is a 4-year degree, a medical degree that is focusing on holistic and alternative integrative medicine. Like, what? I knew at that point this was it. I didn't even think I would go to Canada. I was like, well, let me find other schools. And I found Southwest was a college in Arizona. So I thought, okay, that makes sense. I'll go to Arizona. They have one Bridgeport in Connecticut. I was like, why would I ever be in Connecticut? Arizona made sense. And then as the stars aligned, there was a boy,
Come up with the story.
Boy led me to Canada, which only made sense for me now to go to naturopathic medical school while in Toronto, Ontario. I have now since married that boy, and it's been some years, so there's always a source of motivation to the story, right? But yeah, I remember being on an internet search, and then at that time, internet wasn't as fancy as it is now. So you had to like request a catalog. There wasn't like all of this information that you can send to an email. So I remember requesting a catalog, and they sent this like hefty catalog and pretty folder and just a host of materials to my front door. And I thought, this is the course of study for me. At that point, I just knew I needed to do it and didn't even think about what it meant to do it. I just did it. And then coming back to the lovely Midwest, where at that time there was only one other naturopathic doctor in the St. Louis area.
Really?
I thought, oh, I got a little bit of got some work on my hands. Got a little bit of work on my hands, introducing it to, still meeting people to this day who've never heard of naturopathic medicine, because we are in the Midwest. You go to different coasts and it's just very well known. I mean, I bump into naturopaths when I'm out west, as opposed to here, you have to kind of really give that explanation. So it's been a definitely a journey, but it's been a fun journey, because it's what I do is educating. So if it's educating about the career, about your health, it's all in the same vein to me.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to read certain parts of your bio, because what's interesting, it all connects.
Exactly.
Like
exactly.
all journey. Like
Yeah.
you're going to be a chemist, and you went to FDA and all, and now you have a grocery store. Like, it's
Yeah.
amazing how
Yeah.
when you say you put it, it intersected.
Yeah. And I get that question, well, like, how do you do so many things? And it's like, it's all healing. It's all healing work. It's just a different hat in healing work, but essentially it's all healing. And that's the only way I'm able to do it. Could I go out and start, a car company? Possibly, but it would totally throw me off of my game because it's not, I'm sure there's a way to identify cars as a healer, right? But for me, it was like, it's all within the same realm of business, a business model. So it just made sense.
Yeah, and that's a great leadership lesson of excellence, I think, because I've talked about this a number of times in past, how at one point of life you are kind of like out there figuring it out, trying this,
Mhm.
trying it, your hands are in different things. Still, it's contributing to the big picture, where we'll
Right.
land. But oh my God, to have that day where everything is in alignment and you're not working any extra, it's just shifting to meet the need for that audience. But it's the same, it is the same. I
It
get it.
is. It is. And you mentioned something earlier about Golden Grocer. So I'm not the founder. The founders have been operating this business for the last 40 years.
Oh wow.
And so I was asked to take over ownership in 2018, then again in 2019. In 2019, I accepted. But the hesitation in 2018 was because I was venturing off into different aspects of my career. And then 2019, I accepted because I was like, this makes sense. If I am changing and kind of growing and evolving in my career, the evolution into having a space that is an extension, so to speak, of naturopathic medicine in a very specific way, it made sense. So I couldn't see it a year previously, but then it was like, yes, this now makes sense and I can take this on.
Yeah, totally see it.
Yeah.
Now, once again, unpack for us the goal of, because I know I butchered it probably a little bit, the goal, the essence of your space of study, your space of practice, because it's not
Yeah.
just study, but you're
Yeah.
practicing and you're also teaching others and massage therapists. Um, you have your own clinic.
Yeah. So for the last 13 years, I've been practicing, and it's been within a integrative practice. So there's been other massage therapists, there's been acupuncturists, a really awesome physical therapist, and a practitioner who does something called orthobionomy, which I always say is kind of like homeopathy for the body. Um, so that practice, with the lovely pandemic, there were a lot of changes. So now my practice is primarily virtual for now. For now, it is virtual. And in my space, it's always been doctor as teacher. So as a naturopathic doctor, you don't say, here, I'm going to heal you, I'm going to fix you. It's not how it works. You are the healer. You do the work. I am just here to support you in your healing. And that starts from like getting to the root cause. If I have headaches, let's discover why. Is it attached to a food? Is it stress? Is it because of, the lack of sleep? Is there a hormonal imbalance? So we go down that rabbit hole to really find why the headache is there. I don't want you just to not have headaches. I want you to explore what is the primary reason that brought the headache on. Why is the body producing this symptom? And I think when we look at health and balance in that way, or dis-ease in the way of why is the body producing the symptom, we can then kind of travel backwards and find the root cause of why was the symptom produced in the first place. And it takes that in itself is a holistic approach, because you have to be kind enough and gentle enough to yourself to understand that the body is just speaking to you. And it may not feel good and you may not feel your best, but there is a message in all of that imbalance. There is a message in that dis-ease. And the work is now getting back to balance and getting back to a state of ease. And that we don't often do well. We criticize, we judge, and we beat ourselves up for even being imbalanced and being sick, when it's like, well, let's really listen to what the body is saying. I truly believe the body is intelligent and it will tell us everything we need to know and what we need to do if we listen to it. If we listen to it.
And that's the thing though, because I like your approach to us being kind and to ourselves. And
Yeah.
it starts with self, but we are so busy being busy.
Mm-hmm.
And some of us are actually being productive. It is a
Right.
so, and with the pandemic, a
Yeah.
lot of, there's been a lot of us who just kind of let go
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
the past 300 and plus years, 300 plus months, I should say. And
Right. Right.
others of us who kind of like tighten it down and like
Mm-hmm.
the time to kind of reset.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but how is it, when you work with your clients and
Mm-hmm.
or prospective um, patients to even slow this down, the mind down,
Yeah.
to even because I know how I've been. Like I'm very intentional about self-care.
Mm.
And self-care for
Absolutely.
me will sometimes be wake up early and just be still.
Mm. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I can just be still because I'm constantly going, constantly moving. But it's this to slow because it's hard to go to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you. Yeah.
Nice. How do you even approach that? Or
Um, yeah, I think everyone is different. We're all at different stages. Like you just said, some people just kind of, I'm done. I'm checking out for a while. And some people tighten up and they're like, okay, I got to create a plan. That's very much representative of my practice. I get people who come in and have these stacks of paper and they're like, okay, this is the lab from, 1922. And this is, they come in with all of this information. And those are the people I often say, let's put that down for a minute and let's listen. And then we have, the extreme where it's like, yeah, I don't know what's been going on with my health. I don't know what I'm doing. I just want to be better. Those are the people I might say, well, let's chart some things. Or let's take inventory of what's going on. Let's take inventory of symptoms. How do you feel in the morning? So I think both approaches are just kind of being present. Like you said, that's really good medicine. Waking up and being, just being, because we do well. Like we could do this, I could do this, that, the third. Like we can do a whole bunch of stuff, but can we just be? And I'm saying this to you as I am also saying this to myself. So I just want to be really clear. It ain't like I got it all figured out. These are lessons that I am constantly repeating. And this is where I find solace and healing for myself is just be. Whether it's the start of the day or the end of the day, just sit and just kind of be in that space. Turn the radio off, the phone off, all of that input and signal that can slow or speed this up. I think it just honoring yourself with the space to just be,
and
honoring yourself with the time to I'm just going to stare at the wall for 5 minutes.
but that is so we find that so uncomfortable. You
It's
know?
uncomfortable because I really now have to do the work.
Okay. Now you're taking us to the next phase of the conversation. What does this work look like?
When I think about time with my patients, it's an hour visit, and an hour is never enough. An hour is never enough. And it's like, it's an hour just kind of parse through everything, not just how you feel physically, but how you feel mentally and emotionally.
Mhm.
And if I'm asking those questions, I'm asking not that you have to give me an answer in this moment, but I'm asking so then you can later ask yourself each day. So if I'm saying, often I'll ask people, what do you feel when you wake up in the morning? And they'll say, well, what do you mean? It's open ended for a reason. Because what you feel in the morning could be a physical, it could be a sense of relief, it could be a moment of grief. It can be many things. And it's really framed in a way for you to attach to something. And not for me to put it in your forefront, but for you to say this is what I am attaching to. Because if I attach to an emotion, or if the physical, oh, my right hip pain, I'm carrying that throughout the day. If that's the first thing I connect with in the moment, that is now my ailment. And how does it frame how I walk or how I communicate, or how so there are all of these things that I think the acknowledgement and the awareness, as you talked about, just kind of sitting and kind of orienting yourself. That awareness is where your medicine is.
Mhm.
That's where the medicine starts. It's just, I am aware, because I can be aware that I woke up in a horrible mood. But then I also now have the wherewithal to say, now I have to change that. If I have the awareness to recognize I'm not in a great mood, then I now have to do something about it. And that's where the medicine, that's the healing, that's me putting forth some healing kind of components to my day.
Wow. Okay, you just said a whole lot.
Sorry, I get long-winded.
No,
Yeah,
it's a great thing. It's making me pause and digest, because I know I started a new morning routine, but I did not realize. Let me say, I did realize, but I did not take seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Just a couple years ago, not seriously, how much you go through the day and you pour out, you give, you do, you, as you said,
Yeah.
you do, and
Mm-hmm.
you never press B, but how you start that first part of your day, how it can set the tone.
Yeah.
But to be mindful of that.
Yeah.
For me, just a couple years ago, to where it's like, you need to not wake up doing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Ease into the day. Take a moment.
Yeah.
And that's why some people say, oh yeah, gratitude journaling, that's corny. Or like, really, do people really get up and pray? Or is meditation really all that great?
Yes.
I know it works, and
Yes.
I don't. What's your input on that?
You know what? I think meditation is many things. For some people, meditation can be a walk. It can be, yoga in the morning, Tai Chi, journaling could be your thing. Art, you can be an artist and create something. But it is that, and not to get into anyone's kind of spiritual beliefs, but it's that divine space. That's you, whether it's you in nature, you in an art form or some creative expression, or you sitting and listening to your breath. All of that to me is in the kind of vein of meditation. It's the honoring of self, and I think no matter who you are, what you call yourself, or what you practice, you deserve to be honored. And so if you can do that and say, I'm going to sit and journal for 10 minutes, or I'm going to just wake up and get out of the bed slowly. Like, that's an honoring of yourself. And if you are willing to give that to you, I think that's a great gift. It's a wonderful gift.
I love how simple you've made it. because we do think, so we don't commit, we don't lean into the option, because it's like, oh my God, I've got to do a whole life makeover,
right,
life change. And you said, no, take your time getting out the bed.
Mm-hmm. That's a practice. That's a practice of intentionality.
I love, let the water hit you just a little longer.
Yeah. And trust me, I'm one of those people. It's like, all right, today's a life change. I go get a nice journal. I get the pens. I got an outfit, You do all this stuff, and it's like, what am I doing again? So I have learned, it's like, save your money. Keep it simple. And I love that it is so simple. I love that it is so simple, because I, in my head, have always wanted it to be a big, grandiose plan. And when I have finally realized that's not necessary, it's like, oh, I can just move slowly with intention in the morning, and that's a meditation.
Wow. And back to what you said, and an awareness,
Mm-hmm.
where that's the healing.
Yeah.
I love that. But
yeah.
when you can process that, and the listeners and the viewers begin to, whatever it is that they're doing in their space, wherever you are in the world, let that process and sink in, to where it's like, man, like, okay, I am taking ownership of
Right.
this.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
Feels good.
It feels good just talking about it. It really does. Because I know I'm not one, I know my biggest thing when it comes to, like, oh, if something's going on, like, this is a time of year, or we hit those times of year where, different, depending on our makeup in our bodies, we may have allergies, or we may have,
Mm-hmm.
high impact because of asthma, different things for different people. However, we do know when we can kind of like change something up to kind of like not be so impacted.
Yeah.
And my go-to is take a nap and drink some hot tea.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah. And it's like, we all have like these mechanisms of kind of existing, and then it's the constant kind of how am I compensating for my overdoing in the day? How am I balancing myself? All of that I think are really important. And it's not a place of judgment. It's like, oh, you do this. This is your compensatory mechanism in order to get through the day. We wear a mask at some point in the day. But, you mentioned something like we give. If you're up and giving or working 8 hours a day, you're giving yourself to other people. And that's kind of why we're here. There's some aspect of our existence being of service, right? To serve others, whether that's a job you get paid for, you volunteer in your whatever institution you support. But I always think if I'm giving 8 hours to someone else, how much am I giving back to me?
Awake hours too, right?
Awake hours. So my rule of thumb is for every hour that I give to someone, I have to give 10 minutes back to me. That's only 10 minutes. It's not a lot. So 60 minutes if I'm giving, I have to give 10 minutes. That means if I give you 8 hours of me, that's 80 minutes that I got to return back because I have to replenish. I have to regenerate. I have to empty the cup and refill it. So that makes me cut my time off. All right, Nikki, you got to 7:15.
Like,
7:15 now. I'm
giving you an hour. I'm getting some of this back, right?
But and this is fun so far. So I feel like I'm getting is, but yeah, I try to keep that thought.
That's a good practice.
Just consider it and see how much, because you're doing healing work, right? You're creating a platform, you're offering people a voice, and you're sharing these stories, which hearing other stories is also very therapeutic and healing.
Yeah.
So now this work that you do, you have to be there, you have to facilitate, you have to ask questions. That's healing work, and you're giving of yourself. So 10 minutes.
Okay.
From this whole, you get 10.
On top of my other.
I was gonna say, we're not even talking about what you did for the past 6-7 hours,
I know.
Right.
So I had the opportunity. I love your Instagram page.
Oh yeah.
I mean, to me, it's very educational. Like you are truly on brand as you. I think we have this behind the scene intentionality of what we're trying to do. No, it's there.
Yeah.
I'm able to go on there and get different insights but there was one that stood out to me, and I think it's so relevant, and I want you to kind of address this audience with this whole idea and concept of detoxing.
Yeah.
It's a major right now. We're even in the season of and now we're coming out of COVID, so everybody wants a fix.
Yes.
What is detoxing? First of all, let's do that.
So I'm laughing in the back of my head because when I do talk to some of my other naturopath colleagues, they're like, what is a detox? And it's like everyone just kind of does like an open mouth belly laugh, which is not funny, right? Because detox has become this generalized kind of concept. But when you come to a practitioner who that is like what you study is the organs and how to cleanse them and support them, I always say, well, what are we detoxing? Because you can detox your liver, your kidneys, your lungs, your pancreas. You can detox your colon. You can detox your mind and negative thoughts. You can detox your skin. You can detox your room, your clothing, your house. So detoxification is so massive and broad. But then I have to think, when people come to me and say, oh, I need to detox, they usually talking about their colon, right? They need to go to the bathroom. They want to get stuff out, clean stuff out, and they want it to come out through their bowels. Okay. That's the simplest of when the average person is saying, I want to detox. But in my world, detox has more layers than that. And so I do try to talk to people about, like, you don't need to go out and purchase. I mean, look, I own a grocery store, and I'm telling folks, you don't have to purchase anything to detox. Really, it can be you. First thing we do is I'm going to go buy this detox because we think detox needs to be this harsh, intense activity that just puts us on our back and now we're feeling better.
Yeah, I have friends who went out with the grocery list, and it was apple vinegar cider.
Yeah.
All these different, and they mixed it.
Yeah.
And drank it over like a week or so. I don't know.
Right. So what we're saying is when we need to detox is that everything's overwhelming. Life is overwhelming. My palate, my foods have been, I've overconsumed sugar. I've overconsumed alcohol. I've overconsumed carbohydrate, whatever food that is the burden on your system. And so I get that sense of, and I often say I'm detoxing. So it's not something that I don't use the common nomenclature, but what it means is you need a break, that you need to take those things that are overwhelming to you out of your system so that you can feel lighter and cleaner and more improved. And so, what I tell most people, which no one ever likes to hear it, say you detox with your food. I mean, believe it or not, chewing is a form of detoxification because if I'm eating and I have a whole meal and it takes me 5 bites to complete my meal, now we have a problem because your foods aren't being digested. Therefore, if they're not digested, they hang around in the bowel and they form toxins. So, one of the first ways you can detox is by chewing your food well. And if you think for every bite I take, that's 22 chews, you're macerating the food, you're breaking it down, the enzymes are acting on it, it's moving through your system more cleanly. That's a detox. I know it seems simple, right? So,
This part I did. I'm like, I didn't know I was paying attention.
I'll send you some notes after. So.
No, I'm following you. I'm telling you, you're making me take pause.
So it's like detox again is another concept that we want it to be more challenging than it needs to be when it is really simple. Drinking water, if you drink 8 glasses of water per day, go up to 12 glasses of water per day. That's a detox. Because what you're doing, water is the most natural detoxifying agent that we have at our fingertips. And it is moving through you, it is flushing things through. And often if you drink more water, you're going to consume less food. And so in that sense, water serves a purpose of cleansing or detoxifying the system. Now, absolutely, I know we can up the ante. We can add in this and that to really hit it hard, right? So adding lemon to your water, only doing fruits and vegetables for 21 days, that's a detox. So there are many ways we can manipulate or change or alter or improve the diet that serve as like a detoxifying component in my life. I always say if you're thinking about detoxing the body, you got to detox the mind. I can't do all this cleansing and detoxification and then I'm watching news all night. And then I'm on social media or I'm stressing because a lot of our physical toxins can come from emotional stress. Physical toxins can be derived from emotional stressors. And I say that because if I'm stressing, I produce a hormone called cortisol. Cortisol affects your blood sugar, your blood cholesterol, it affects your heart rate, it affects the level of inflammation in the body. Imbalanced blood sugar is what leads to toxins. High or imbalanced cholesterol also leads to toxins in the blood. Having extra inflammation from the stress response leads to toxins in the blood. So that physical toxin can also come from emotional factors. And I would say we have to think about the whole totality of detoxing. So you can eat all these fruits and vegetables, drink all the water, but if you're angry all day, if you're mad at somebody, you're stressing, the toxins are still circulating.
And as you said earlier, going to the roots.
Right.
Going right back to how you started off. Like you come and see me, but I'm ready to go deep.
Right.
It's something that's triggering.
Right.
So right now we're just kind of putting a Band-Aid on. We're trying to put Band-Aids on top of of a wound, but why do we have that?
Yes. So it's like if you do a detox and you ate a really clean diet and then you go back to have steak and fries and milkshakes, and is the detox now ruined or do you heighten it by not doing that? And that varies for each person. But the point I'm making is what's the plan? Like, what's the goal? Like, what's the end goal here? And if I'm thinking root cause, if I'm thinking long-term healing, if I'm thinking sustainable medicine, I don't do it just for this short time to get over this hump. I think about how is this playing a part of my long-term health and healing?
which totally shifts the whole why
Right.
a detox would even happen.
Exactly.
And don't start with the body, start with the mind.
You always start with the mind, because even saying, all right, I'm cutting out sugar or alcohol, or if it's any substance that you need to stop using, that is a mental thing. You know, it's 21 days to break a habit. That's one of the reasons why you do a cleanse or detox or, healing diet for 21 days, is to kind of break the habit. 90 days to really change a cell cycle. So if we're thinking structurally, and if I do have diabetes and I'm getting rid of that, you need 90 days of a plan. If I'm getting my cholesterol, you need 90 days to not just reverse those numbers, but to keep them reversed. And so 21 days is really just to get the mentality into a space of, I can no longer eat meat for 90 days, or I can no longer have sugar. Like, that is what breaks that after 21 days. But the real healing isn't coming into another 2 months, so surprise. But, I think, and it doesn't, I don't want to take it lightly. It's not easy to change your life. It's not easy to completely go against what you have been taught and what you've done for 40, 50, or 60 years.
Yeah.
So there should be some mental play. There should be some support mentally in order to make this a healing, a very successful healing plan, I would say. So I get it. I get it. I get why it's hard. I get why we need that just overhaul, just take everything out, give me the pills, and let me clean the system. Because you feel like, if this is a major shocker to my system, then I'll stick with it.
Mm-hmm.
Not always the case, but it's a try.
I get it. If this
Yeah,
isn't there and you're not committed.
exactly. Exactly. So sometimes saying, well, I'll be committed if I do this strict detox for 21 days or 2 weeks or 3 months, and sometimes it takes that, depending on where you are in your health and what diagnoses may have been presented to you. I think, yeah, now I got to do something. And sometimes we need that shift.
Yeah. And even in that shift, understanding, I know part of the awareness is understanding. I know for me, I'm at that phase of life, actually a few years ago. I wanted to know on both sides of the family, maternal and paternal, what are some of the things that as
Mm-hmm.
a family we've dealt with? Because you get to a certain age and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, things don't move the way they used to. It takes me a little longer to wake up in the morning. You
Right. Right.
just curious, and then
Mm-hmm.
um yeah, you just get to that point to where you're curious. And so I am big on, like, I love the words, being aware,
Mm-hmm.
not of yourself, but that is an extension of yourself. And
Yeah.
because I think how you're breaking this information down is almost, we can be more preventative with some of these things that we are
Yes.
stumbling into. But it's like, oh, had you come to the doctor or had you paid attention, but we know something's happening.
Right.
I'm walking with a limp for the last 2 years. Like,
Right.
something's wrong. Our body it really does communicate with
It
us.
does, and that's, it was interesting because I did a shift when I was in my studies of pain management. And often I remember us, telling people, well, the first step to pain management is meditation. And people were looking at us like, what? I'm in pain. You want me to meditate, But the thought is this, with the physical body, when you have pain, when you bump your elbow, there is a very physical motor response that travels to the brain, and you say, ouch. That's acute pain, meaning it just happened or it happened within a 90-day period. After 90 days, that acute response where you bump your elbow and you say, ouch, that turns away from a physical response to an emotional response. So one thing we know about long-term pain is that it's emotional. Now, it's not to take away from what you feel physically, but the body processes it through the emotional centers. So when I think about that in chronic pain, I can throw all of the pain meds at you that I want. But if we're not dealing with how the body is dealing with this pain from an emotional sense, so if we're not dealing with the emotions, the stress, the worry, the concern, the fear that often comes along with pain, then we're not dealing with the pain. And so it took me, at first I was like, I'm trying to teach these people meditation. They're limping and on, but then when you start talking to them about how the pain makes them feel and what triggers the pain, You know, you see it's all, a lot of it is emotional, you know, so again, not to clump everyone in a category, and it's really just the consideration of how to treat people in a preventative measure. It's dealing with the whole body, the whole system, the whole consideration that you are more than just flesh. Um, so that really is kind of groundbreaking when you look at long-term health and healing when it comes to pain. And if people are willing to consider it in a way, that way, they're often the ones who heal the quickest.
Yeah, because once you start and do you, I tell people do you, and I'm saying that now, do you. I'm not saying not take medication,
Right.
but at the same time, for me, I realize I take this medication, but it's going to trigger something else. And I'm just very cautious of that, and wanting to that's why this conversation, I'm probably like looking at you crazy, because it's so like, it's almost like, why did we not know this like 10, 20 years ago?
Yeah. Yeah. And the question is, why would you know it? You know, why there are certain things I know how to do my taxes, but I call an accountant. You know, it's like it's just certain things that I'm just not excellent at. So I don't spend time studying it. It's not my forte. So why would that be something at your fingertips? You know, it's
and,
not the thing that propels you each day, so to speak.
and we're all
Um,
convenience, right?
exactly.
You want to be.
Exactly. And so I think the one thing I wanted to do, I wanted to accomplish with naturopathic medicine is to let people know that healing is very simple. It is at your fingertips. You access it every moment in the day, any moment that you want, and whatever time in any way you want to. Demystifying, you know, you get these big words and these big systems, and it's like I have to be a doctor or biochemist to know it. I want to take that away because that is what keeps us from being preventative, because we feel like it's too big to know, it's too grand to know. And I want people to know that you know your body better than any doctor out there. You know your body better than any practitioner that walks the face of this earth. So you have to articulate what is going on with you. And the only way you do that is by listening. So I really do feel like we are capable of healing anything. And I say that after going into this deep dive of studying the brain and neurology for the past few years and working with youth with different neurological disorders. And one of the things I found so fascinating in all of these neuroscience magazines and neurology and these top like brain surgeons, and they're looking at the brain and finding there's this one factor that we just can't figure out. There's this one component of the brain that is just the unknown. And so you look into things called neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is just the brain and its ability to heal itself. And when I was studying this, there was one factor that I just will never forget. And it's like every single waking moment, your body is working to heal you. At every single moment that you are breathing, your body is conspiring to heal you. That's without us doing anything, drinking anything, detoxing anything. That is just what is happening. And then when you see that, and this just how the body is acting, you think there is an intelligence that no person can ever articulate and put into a science journal or book or in words, because it's just that element that makes us human, the element of healing. Healing, you know, you cut your finger. I give this example all the time. You cut your finger says there's a cut. Your body sends little cells to that site and it starts to heal the cut.
It's crazy.
You don't have to go take anything for it. You don't have to send a note to the brain and say, hey, I got to cut here. Your body flips into healing activation mode without you doing anything. You're just watching your Netflix and it's healing.
You're right. You're under your personal knife. You're on your
Right.
turn.
Right. And so when I think about that, it just makes me all warm and fuzzy on the inside, knowing that this is happening independent of me thinking I got to know what to do about it. Independent of me knowing all the answers. I think it's happening. Healing is happening. So if I can tap into that most days of the week, that happens with my mood. My mood is lifted. that happens where that limp isn't something I lean into. I straighten up and I try to walk more in a straight path and try to work on that pain from a mental component as opposed to always favoring it, So yeah, there are so many components that I just am in awe
I am
of our
too.
body. Yeah,
After this
yeah,
conversation. And then you talk about um, having our fingertips right at everything that we need to heal
yeah.
ourselves. As I walk through your aisles of Golden Grocer over on Hill, I love the new space.
Thank you.
I can't wrap this up without at least kind of giving you some love on the vision and all that you're doing. I had to bring this with me. This is I cracked up because I'm like, one, I just started eating like black beans recently.
Oh, okay.
But what's crazy, it's one ingredient. It's like
One
fettuccine, but it's
ingredient.
black bean fettuccine. I'm so looking forward to eating this. But in your place, one thing that I said, okay, this is what I need to ask her. If you would hold a class
Mhm.
in the spice aisle and just tell us, I mean, I was fascinated by all the spices. And I'm like, oh, I
Yeah.
want to picture this, picture that, but what do I do with it?
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's a really good point. And stay tuned because we're working on classes as you speak.
Yeah.
Um, and that's the thing about herbs. They're plants. They're I always say we were gifted herbs and plants to heal us, whether we look at them as flowers, whether we wear them as perfumes or whether we consume them as medicine. I think they're one of the best gifts that we can have on this earth. So um, I get a lot of people who that bulk herb section is really, really key. And what I want to do is kind of streamline it and have, because you have people who like know certain herbs. There's so many other herbs out there, but that comes with education and sharing. So classes will be coming forth soon. Stay tuned, trying to make everything COVID safe and keep the space, in a way that we can maintain, a small crowd and be able to have people learn. So there'll be some classes in store and a few Zoom classes coming soon. Yeah.
I love it. Now, I know it's all about healing, but what is something that you can tell us about Golden Grocer that you are most proud of?
Oh, um, I have to say, it's been a place that I frequented many moons ago, many years ago while I was in my undergrad. So I have to be honest, the first time it was presented to me to purchase the store, I said no because it is a legacy store. It is a staple, it's a community staple, and I just didn't want to let folks down,
Interesting.
but in taking over the store and then a pandemic hit, I had to make so many changes and pivot in so many areas. And that was challenging because I wanted to maintain kind of the integrity, but I knew there would have to be some modifications. And so I am most proud of myself for doing that with as much grace as I can and accepting that it will be different. And I'm the one who is making this different and being okay with that. So I am most proud of that, being able to keep it going, to propel it into a new space, into a new kind of era, and knowing that it's only going to get better. And I trust that.
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember when it was on Euclid, and
Yes.
I've been through there a number of times, and so I was following along as you were giving us the teasers and you could see the construction. So I was following some of this,
Yeah.
and to go walk in there now, and I'm telling you, it is your story, your journey is most encouraging, and
Oh,
the risk and but yet the reward speaks
yes.
volumes to
Yes.
those of us who are just on the outside looking in.
Yeah. Yeah. The risk and the reward. That's going to be my book. Thank you for that. Let me write that down.
We waiting on it. We waiting on it. It's time. It's time. Matter. It needs to be volumes.
Yeah, I know, right?
So as you as you're doing your, you have your practice going, you're pivoting with that, but at the same time, coming into new opportunities to expand and educate more and more people about it, while also giving them a place to go and land and actually put their hands on product, because the product is just not just food. I mean, it's stuff for your face, stuff for your house. I'm a big advocate for using natural things in the house.
Yes, so we got natural detergents and soaps and cleansers. We even have some crystals to keep the energy clean in the house. Yes.
I saw frankincense tears.
Yes.
Who's ever heard of it?
Right. And people take a little piece of charcoal and burn that like an incense. And it's just a very cleansing. It's just, the house smells so good with fragrance. I love frankincense in the home.
Some of that.
Yes. Then you don't.
Lentils and beans and
you got some good stuff.
and some real juice, some pure juice.
Yes, right. That's right.
But oh my gosh, what's keeping you up at night as you begin to explore these new spaces and look like out, even just 2 years out? What's keeping you up?
Yeah, I have to say I sleep like a baby. If I don't do nothing,
that's because you're centered.
I'm telling you that when people say like your medicine, sleeping is like, I am serious about my sleep. So nothing's keeping me up at night. But
how many hours are you sleeping?
I get 8.5 to 9 hours. I guess I go to bed about 9:15. The latest on nights I'll go is like 9:45. I kid you not, get up about 6:15 some days, maybe 6:45. I am serious about my sleep. You know what? Because it's like I have so much I'm doing, and that is
okay.
And I start like my lights are shut down at 8:00. When I wasn't playing, when I was like, you guys said 8:00, I shut down the light. I mean, I dim the lights. I have some tea, lavender tea is what I'm going to be drinking tonight. And I just, I
love this though. Like, because I can see, like, you have, going back to what you said earlier, poured out all day. So those are your minutes.
Right.
Of bringing it down, because I was a huge advocate, and I still am, but it's just not how it is at the moment. But I'm going back to it. No TVs in the room.
I know. I was that so many years. I did not have a television in my room.
Either.
I'm blaming my lovely partner, but if I had to blame somebody. Although I do flick that TV on sometimes. But yeah, I do sleep well. But what keeps me up, or what makes my mind go more than I would like for it to be, is I still feel like I want to reach more people. I often feel like I want to share more knowledge with people, and I'm not sharing enough, or I'm not reaching the audience. I'm not getting to the young families, or I'm not getting to some of my elders, So I have those moments where it's like, this information needs to be out, and it needs to be out more. And so I work through that. I work through that. But that would be the one thing that gets me sometimes, where it's just, I need to get more. I read something, I learn more, and it's like, I need to go tell this to somebody, and like a lot of somebodies,
Who's gonna listen? Well, you have the platform right now. Communicate a message, and this is not just in this one time. This is anytime we can be of assistance on this platform, you call, email.
I like that. Okay.
Now, you have a platform though to communicate a message to help someone in the nick of time.
Yeah.
What one message would you send to everyone, considering more of us need to be aware?
I want people to know that they're in the right place at the right time, doing exactly the right thing. Okay. And just knowing that what you need, you have. The tools that you're searching for, you already possess. And the plan and the journey you're looking to get on, you're on it.
You speaking my language. Seriously, that is my closing remarks. Some of those words.
Really?
Serious?
Okay.
I love it. Now, where can we find you?
Now that's the hard part. Now,
give some social media.
So please come in and check us out at 4501 Shodo. That's the lovely Golden Grocer. We're there Monday through Saturday. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Golden Grocer STL for good old St. Louis. You can also shoot me an email if you ever wanted to. That is heal, HEAL, at goldengrocerstl.com.
Love it. Love it. I am just so in awe of the work that you're doing. Again, I so wish I had known, and been educated on a number of these things years ago.
Now is the perfect time.
And I love that. Love that.
Yeah, you look at it. She's like, got it.
Presents.
Right.
You know, I will think of you for the next few days.
Aww.
As a coach in my ear. Set it down.
Received. Yes. Again.
Right. Before you do all this other craziness,
Right.
Then today, starting today, I'm going to go back and calculate all my time and see how many 10 minutes I can get.
You got to start today. You can't be retroactive. You're going to be gone a whole 45 days if you.
I know. I'm like, listen. Cashing in on these. Listen. I told you I'm big on self-care. I understand it is not something to stumble upon. It is something to incorporate.
Yeah.
And
I like that.
Totally just spoken to that, to where, that is the self-care, that is the self-love, the awareness alone.
Yeah.
Dr. Owens-Todd, thank you so much for this time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for this education. Thank you for trusting your expertise. I know somebody's going to be blessed. Some people are going to be shifted and changed, and find a new grocery store.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Well, I thank you immensely. We are reflections of one another. So all the great work you're doing, I am excited because I feel it. I feel it in my bones, and it's your work. So I appreciate the opportunity and just for seeing me and offering me the opportunity. It means a lot. It means a lot.
Like I said, we're here for you.
Aww.
I look forward to staying in touch and staying engaged. And also just seeing the journey. Beautiful.
Yay.
I want to thank listeners, viewers for tuning in and joining us. Again, I know that something has been said that you will walk away with, and you make a change, and understand you already have it. And for me, with the platform, what do I always say? You already have everything you need to be successful. Success as you define it, not that as the world defines it.
That's right.
Show up and share out. Continue. I want to thank once again Sparkman Pathway to Careers and KSTL 690 AM for the love, the platform, and the freedom to even do this work. Until next time, go be good, be great, be blessed.